From rags to riches, these footballers have defied the odds and achieved remarkable success on and off the field. In this video, we dive into the inspiring stories of 10 footballers who have overcome obstacles and worked tirelessly to make it to the top. Whether it's through hard work, perseverance, or sheer talent, these footballers have become role models for millions around the world. Get ready to be inspired by their incredible journeys and learn how they made it big in the world of football. Football, the most famous sport in the world, also happens to be the source of the most heartwarming stories of resilience of all time. European football, in particular, has the attention of the whole world as it is considered a goldmine thanks to its huge fan following. Anyone that proves themselves to be the best can make it big in Europe, and as it has been proven again and again, the best footballers don't always come from the peaceful paved streets of London and Madrid. From Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who had to steal to survive, to Beeb, who nearly died in a refugee camp, here's a look at the 10 most inspiring rags-to-riches stories that have ever touched European football stadium carpets. N'Golo Kante. From a garbage collector to a World Cup winner, N'Golo Kante's rise to fame will inspire the children of immigrant parents in France for centuries. Kante is the son of Malian immigrants to France who could hardly afford to live. Kante's father died while he was still little, leaving his poor mother as the sole parent of 4 children. Kante had to help his mother to pay the bills, so he started collecting garbage before he was 8. During the 1998 World Cup, Kante would go to the stadiums to collect the trash left behind by the fans. He later joined the football academy, where his determination and skill astonished the coach. He helped his childhood academy start winning trophies, but he never bragged. Kante never brags, actually. Everyone knows him as the silent, shy guy whose only joy is when he is helping his team on the pitch. Carlos Tevez. Carlos Tevez has a third-degree burn scar extending from his neck and chest, which he acquired while just 10 months old. Details are scarce about how he got the scar, but his mother was an alcoholic, and they were very poor, which may give some insight. His parents abandoned him at a young age, forcing him to move in with his uncle Segundo Tevez. It was his uncle that finally gave him his second name. Life at his uncle's wasn't any easy either, because it was all happening in the famous Fort Apache slums of Buenos Aires, where gun violence and drugs are the order of the day. The family was too poor to afford football boots for the boy, which partly caused the delay in joining the academy. He had to go hungry on many occasions, and as a teenager, had to take care of his uncle's entire family on his allowance from Boca Juniors. He still managed to leave his past behind to become one of the highest-paid footballers in the world at one point. Luka Modric. Luka Modric was awarded the Golden Ball for being the best player in the 2018 World Cup in Moscow. He is still regarded as the greatest midfielder of his generation, and also one of the greatest rags-to-riches stories ever heard. His family was forced to flee their home when he was just 6 during Croatia's war for independence from Serbia in the early 90s. The family only managed to carry whatever could fit in their car and fled to the Zadar refugee complexes. The family couldn't even afford to feed the boy right, and he was too small for his age by the time the coach of a local football academy found him playing football in the hotel parking lot. He was taken in by the academy and had to train while watching and ready to run for their life whenever grenades started landing on the training grounds. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's boisterous character sometimes overshadows his humble beginnings. There is no doubt about the fact that he is one of the greatest footballers of all time, with excellent records in all major leagues in Europe and abroad. The AC Milan star has been a survivor since his childhood, doing anything legal or illegal that would help him get a meal for the day at one point. His parents gave birth to him in Sweden, but they were refugees from Yugoslavia. His father was an alcoholic, so Zlatan and his siblings had to fend for themselves, and that is how he learned to pinch bikes and pickpocket people in the neighborhood. He continued pinching bikes, including his coach's bike, right outside the teen locker room. He said if football hadn't worked for him, he would have ended up in prison. Thank God it did. Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane holds the record for the fastest hat trick at 2 minutes 56 seconds. He is one of the best talents English football has ever witnessed. Mane's roots are very humble, if not somewhat distressing. He was born in a small village called Bambala in Sedja, Senegal. His parents couldn't afford to take him to school, and there was no money for buying balls and football equipment. The family could only afford food, so Mane had to find other boys playing in the streets and use the chance to play with them. He never got the opportunity to go to school, but he got a chance to participate in a local championship, and his talent won over the whole town. Alex Ferguson, Beeb. Alex Ferguson agreed in 2009 that he had never seen Thiago Manuel Diaz Correa, aka Beeb, play. He still signed the player for £7 million from Vitória de Guimarães because of the story behind the man and the talent. He didn't meet the demands of Old Trafford, but he went ahead to make a name for himself in La Liga. 18 months before that signing, Beeb had been living in a homeless shelter and on the streets on the outskirts of Lisbon. Neymar Santos da Silva Jr. was born outside of Sao Paulo, and while he wasn't born in the rough favelas like most of his Brazilian counterparts, his life wasn't any better. The parents couldn't afford electricity, so young Neymar had to study using candlelight. His father was a professional footballer too, but he was injured in an accident that damaged his hip, forcing him to retire. He had to work 3 jobs to keep the family alive, and at one point, just couldn't manage, and the family had to move in with Neymar's grandmother. Neymar said his parents were so poor they couldn't even afford ultrasound while he was growing up. One day when his mother couldn't afford to buy him a cookie, he told her not to worry and that she would make lots of money in football and buy her a whole cookie factory. Well, now he is the highest paid player in the world and the most expensive after signing for PSD from Barcelona for a record $256 million. Juan Cuadrado, ever playing in European football, was a miracle in itself. He was born in Necoclí, Colombia, one of the places where drugs, cartel wars, and police violence are part of daily life. He watched his father short at the age of 4 and had to hide under the bed to avoid getting shot himself. His mother was a maid who later switched to selling bananas, and little Cuadrado was her right-hand man. Life was tough, and football was the boy's only solace. He had to move in with his grandmother because his mother just couldn't afford to fend for him. It was there at the age of 13 that local football coaches saw his talent and signed him up for the local youth league, and so began his journey to the Premier League. Alphonso Davies was born to Liberian refugees in a refugee camp in Ghana. The conditions in the camp were so bad that his father said keeping a gun was essential for survival. The family was accepted in Canada when Davies was just 5 years old. In Vancouver, his father struggled to make ends meet, but the boy excelled at the charity football academy set up in his neighborhood for boys from poor backgrounds. He joined Vancouver Whitecaps FC as a teenager and became the youngest person to ever play in Canada's Major League Soccer. His transfer fee to Bayern was also the NLS's highest ever on record. Victor Moses was born in Lagos, Nigeria, where he hardly had any schooling and didn't know how to speak English. He used to play street football and was out on one such game when his parents were killed because of a religious conflict. The 11-year-old's life was also on the line in Lagos, so family and friends desperately contributed money and sent him to London as an asylum seeker. He was finally given to a foster family in London and managed to land a scholarship and admission to the Crystal Palace Academy. In conclusion, the inspiring stories of these footballers serve as a testament to the power of hard work, perseverance, and dedication. From humble beginnings to global stardom, these footballers have overcome numerous obstacles to achieve success in their careers. Their stories remind us that no matter where we come from or what challenges we may face, we can always strive to reach our goals and realize our dreams. As we continue to witness the incredible feats of these footballers on the pitch, let us also celebrate the inspiring stories behind their journeys to success.